So thank you very much, Madam, for agreeing to speak with us. My first question will be just less than 24 hours to beginning of the polls. How ready are we? How ready is Liberia for this election?
Liberia is ready for the conduct of these elections. We have deployed all of our sensitive and non-sensitive materials to the field. We've also deployed staff who are on their way, some of them, to polling places in readiness for the process.
How is the commission working to reassure people in terms of confidence in the process? Looking back, this last week, the poll that's been published that suggested that maybe a good number of the population didn't have enough confidence in the process to be free and fair.
Well, there are various reasons why you will hear that they don't have confidence in the election situation. One of which is the incumbent who appoints board of commissioners at the NEC is also running in these elections. And the fear is that the commission will do otherwise in favor of the incumbent. This is not the case. We are an institution of integrity, and we will work to ensure that all of the votes that are counted during election day will be the votes that we will announce at the end of the process. We have done this before in the 2020 senatorial elections, where the incumbent's party actually lost most of their seats, and we announced those results as they were. No one changed anything. We continue to speak to Liberians on most of the media outlets, reassuring them of our commitment to ensure a transparent process. We are also saying that party agents should present themselves at all of the polling places so that at the end of the voting, they will be able to attest about how the process rolled out and how they ended. So that's the best we can do. Normally, people are scared. They think that they enter a contest, they may now win. They probably perceive others to be stronger than they are. And so they raise all of these fears. But we say, don't be afraid. If you enter a contest, you enter to win. The only problem there is that there's only one winner for the presidency, for several for the senators and representatives.
Right. When we were driving in yesterday, we ran into the sort of clashes or riots between opposing political parties who were wrapping up their campaign. Following also news in the media, it seems tensions are really high in terms of expectations for tomorrow. What would be the plan by the commission working with the security to forestall any acts of violence at polling stations across the country?
You know very well that the Liberia National Police and control the joint security that are deployed on the field throughout the voting centers. So we expect that they too will handle any acts of violence committed against our process as well as with other Liberians. But our job is to ensure that these mechanisms are in place and that they work for the good of all Liberians. And this is what we are doing.
And are you confident that tomorrow would be going smoothly, or do you fear especially some violence, riots?
We have no fear that there will be violence. No. Because Liberians have demonstrated this before. They will come peacefully, we pray, and they will exercise their franchise and leave the voting centers when they shall have voted. Because we don't know people, it's possible that some pockets may arise, some pockets of persons who probably may be disgruntled about anything may arise. But again, I say that aspect is left with the joint security.
And just regarding the observers, we saw around like EU observers, ECOWAS observers. Can you just tell me the figures, if you have them, of like how many observers do you have for this election and from where they're going?
we estimate that some 8,441 observers are in the country. And that number can increase because these statistics were drawn some 3 days ago. But we also have received information that more observers are even on their way.
All right, so I have just 2 questions. So my first question is with regard to the biometric system, which I'm told is the first time you're doing it. And already during the registration process, there were concerns of about 27,000 people having double registration. And it's cast a lot of doubts on the credibility of the EC. How are you dealing with this in terms of the perception people have with regard to that issue? And basically, how do you assure people that there's not going to be a repeat of double voting or multiple voting in the process?
The Elections Commission, when we announced the figures for the biometric voter registration, we told the Liberian people that we had discovered some 27,192 records. How it went out, that it was persons, we don't know how that happened. But we say there were 27,192 records committed by some 3,634 persons. Now, the law in Liberia says that even when there is duplicate registration or multiple registration, those who commit the act, first is a crime and they should be prosecuted. But the law also says that those persons will be allowed to vote at the first place they registered. So these persons are on our final registration roll. That is the 3,634 persons are on our voter roll. So they will vote come the 10th of October. How we handle this is that the final registration roll is printed into booklets. The first part of that booklet has the data of all those who registered at that particular polling place. At the back of that FRR, you have the duplicates listed there. Under their listing, they get pointed to the first place of registration. So if one person comes and presents a voter registration card, the staff checks in the first part to see whether they are on a roll, and if they are not on that roll, they check in the second part of the FRR to see whether they are duplicates. And if they are duplicates, they are informed that they cannot vote in that particular precinct, and they are directed to where they are supposed to vote, which will be the first registration. Secondly, the cards that we issue are specific to specific polling places, meaning that even if you had 20 cards, you will not be allowed to use any of those. In fact, the remaining of those 20 cards, after you shall have voted the first time with the one that you were supposed to be using. So we think that that's a backup for this system, which is basically manual, because we are not using any electronic verifier. So what I've just explained is our verifier in a manual way. Then we ink the thumb, and we are hoping that people will not be as smart as they usually are to rub some things on it to remove it. But there are also ways to check. We can also go online to see whether, in fact, those cards that are presented are actually within our system. And that is the vc.necliberia.org. If you access it, each individual gets to be connected to the final registration roll in the individual capacity. They're looking at the data, and which also states information about the vote, as well as the places, the polling places they are supposed to go to register, to vote.
Last question. When it comes to conflict resolution, basically people contesting the results, do you have any mechanisms in place? I've been told that there were recommendations from the last elections, and the fact that it was contested. How how do you verify some of the data that is collected? How do you have any systems in place? Because what I was told was there's a 3-level stage. There's one that comes to the EC first, and the second one goes to the board chair of another committee by the EC before it goes to court. And they say the two-step process going through the EC is not sufficient enough because it's like you're reporting the EC to the EC itself. So what is the process? Is there something different?
So basically, when we have complaints, they usually are generated at the magisterial offices. Candidates have access to our forms, and then they fill in those forms, they fill in their complaints. Then at that level, the magistrate can hear that complaint. At the other level, which comes to the head office, we have a dispute resolution mechanism where we have a hearing office that takes care of those complaints. They hear them, they rule, and if the candidate per se is not in agreement with that ruling and appeals to the Board of Commissioners, the Board of Commissioners will hear it, and if they're not satisfied, they can appeal to the Supreme Court of Liberia. The National Elections Commission is the first instance we run an administrative hearing process where we compile evidence of what may have taken place, and that evidence is on appeal, gets sent to the Supreme Court, and whatever the Supreme Court rules comes back to the Elections Commission to implement. So it's there.
Thank you.
Any last words you want to say?
We just want to say to all Liberians to come out to vote tomorrow from 8 in the morning to 6, and in places where it's possible that voting starts a little late, we will still run the process. They just need to ensure that they are in the queue before the official voting time ends, which is at 6 o'clock, and all of those who are in the queue will get their chance to exercise their franchise. So we encourage all to come out and be peaceful, and of course to wait for the final announcement of the results from these elections. We do know that there are a lot of other people, including media institutions, that will be giving preliminary results, but we also are the authority to issue those results and to announce them. And so we'll start as of the 11th of October releasing preliminary results, and they can continue for a number of days, but the law says that within 15 days time we should be able to have announced the final results of these elections.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.